Well, when you watch this video, it'll officially be Tuesday. Tuesday means I have 2 days of work left, and then I leave. So, like everything, all great things must come to an end. Don't worry, don't worry. No problems. This isn't the end of Pop or anything like that, not at all. We're going to continue to grow and build and give you content from all across the spectrum on a daily basis like we have been doing. Or like I have been doing and AJ has been doing. Because everyone else has had to take a little bit of a sabbatical from the channel, but that's okay, I totally understand. Like Will says, sometimes things get in the way. Well, I believe his wording is sometimes life gets in the way, so we'll go with that. Now, what I'm saying is this. This will be the final wrestling recap on this channel for the month of September. Yeah, I won't have the means or the ways to watch Raw, SmackDown, Impact, or NXT. I probably could watch NXT, to be totally honest, but I won't have the means to do that while I'm gone, so you won't see me again if you're a wrestling fan until October 2nd. That's what I'm looking at. Maybe. I'm not sure on that. That's a possibility. That's a Tuesday. That day's going to be packed with a lot of movies, so it may not be the case. I may join you guys on the 4th, which is a Friday. Let me check to make sure that's correct, obviously. There you go. Yeah, I actually was right this time. Probably join you on the 4th for an Impact recap, and then we'll go back to normal, and we'll watch regular movies, and we'll try to get caught up again, obviously, and I'll talk TNA Impact, and everything will be right in the world. We'll talk NXT and SmackDown on Saturday, and then we'll go back to Raw on the next Monday. Well, the funny thing is, because the Raw on the next Monday is the 7th, the 8th, we're going to SmackDown, so that's going to be awesome, and that's going to be really enjoyable. Me, Ben, and Will are going to be going to SmackDown. It's going to be awesome. Pop goes to SmackDown. You'll get some footage from that. So, oh yeah, representing my Touring Plans shirt, so props to Scarlett, Lynn, and Laurel for getting me this awesome piece of coolness to wear, and I proudly wear it. So, let's talk Raw, and this was a very interesting edition of Raw, the show right after Night of Champions, which was last night in Detroit, Michigan. We were live tonight from Cleveland, Ohio, so I probably could have been at this show. If I could have found someone to drive me there, I would have been able to be there, but Will doesn't like Cleveland, so he doesn't like traveling to Cleveland. There you go. I don't know if he has a problem with the city or anything, but Will doesn't want to travel to Cleveland, so it was never an option to go. But hopefully, when there is a return date announced to the Nationwide Arena when we go to SmackDown on the 8th, it will either be one of three things, and I truly believe this. It's either going to be another Raw, which makes sense. It'd be the third Raw we've had in the last couple years. Another SmackDown, which is possible, or I truly believe in the next 2 years, at the very most, we're getting a pay-per-view in Columbus. Now, it may be something it's not going to be the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, not going to be anything like that. No. We're going to get a pay-per-view. It's probably one of the secondary pay-per-views, if I had to guess. But that's fine. That's fine with me. And as a matter of fact, if I look into my way of thinking I have, I'm going to look at that real quick. Alright, so I look at the list of WWE pay-per-view events. Alright, so the last WWE pay-per-view, the last WWE event was Raw, and that was in April. That brings us to SmackDown on October 8th, so that's 7 months. The last time it was 6 months. So, hold on, make sure I don't look like an idiot here. May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months. Okay, so that means it'll be 7 months. So 7 months from October will be, let's go with May. May would be Extreme Rules. So I say the pay-per-view after WrestleMania is what we end up getting. I say we get Extreme Rules or Payback. Oh, you may end up getting the Elimination Chamber. That'd be pretty awesome to see that in the Nationwide Arena. But either way, if there's a return date announced, and I guarantee you there will be, we're going to jump on that and get as close as we possibly can. I won't be able to get you video from inside the building because they're really frowning upon that. I did get you a couple of videos at the beginning of this channel, actually, from the Nationwide Arena, but I had to kind of cheat to get those, so you're not going to see any footage from SmackDown. Oh no, that's not going to happen. I will get videos probably taken in Easton Town Center, maybe the Cheesecake Factory, maybe afterwards when we get some dinner at Denny's, Eaton Park, what have you. We'll figure it out. So I got 2 weeks to figure that one out, so hopefully we're getting a pay-per-view in Columbus next year. I'm pretty sure that's probably going to happen. So let's talk Raw, and very interesting edition of Raw. So right away, before the show even starts, there's a tweet posted that shows Daniel Bryan's new side plates for the WWE Championship. It's basically a fist with yes, yes, yes on both sides. Owen approves. So he does start off the show in the queue, coming out wearing said WWE Championship. He's got the mic, of course. He says, "You guys are awesome." But what says it best is just simply saying, "Yes! Yes! Yes!" And of course the entire crowd goes completely nuts for him. Triple H comes out. Of course he has to ruin all the fun like he likes to do lately. He wants to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, being the fast count from senior official Scott Armstrong. It's funny, even I talked about it on Twitter, so yeah, guilty. I mentioned that as well, just like everyone else on social media has been talking about it all day ever since it happened last night. So, Triple H basically says the victory is tainted. It was a fast count. So, what he wants to do is, he's going to bring out Scott Armstrong so he can defend what he did. Armstrong comes out, and Triple H shows both versions of the count. The traditional cadence of the count for Orton's near fall in the mid part of the match, and the fast count at the finish after the fire-breathing knee. So you have two different sides, and then of course they have to show it side by side, so the cadence of the count on the left and the cadence of the count on the right is obviously completely different. "Scott, what do you have to say for yourself?" Triple H asks, and he basically says, "It was a fast count. I don't know. I made a mistake." "Well, how do you explain yourself?" Armstrong thinks about it for a second. He's like, "I made a mistake. I don't know." Triple H's like, "You don't know? I've never seen a mistake like that in the entire time I've known you. The whole 15 years I've been around you. I feel like you're not telling me everything, Scott." So Armstrong basically tries to throw Bryan under the bus and says, they got us. They're on to us. The jig is up. So Triple H thinks about it and says, "Okay, I'll address you later, Scott. You may leave the ring." And he's like, "Daniel, I'm ashamed with you. A conspiracy with an official? As of this moment, I am stripping you of the WWE Championship." And everybody on the internet's like, "Oh my God, we knew it was going to happen." Because duh. On top of it, he's not giving the title back to Randy Orton. He's just literally holding it up in the air. So the crowd's kind of like split. It's like, yay, but they took the belt off Bryan, so yeah, sure. So, either way, Daniel Bryan, you're no longer the WWE Champion. At this moment, there is no WWE Champion. And of course, he puts the boots to Bryan with words and basically says, "I would have thought that Shawn taught you better than this." Pretty much putting over the fact, like I said yesterday on the Night of Champions recap video, you can also watch here on Pop, that Shawn Michaels had a hand in training Daniel Bryan when he was starting out in the business. So, hand over the belt to me right now, or I promise you, I will take it from you. Randy Orton's music hits. He doesn't taunt. He doesn't do anything. He just charges down to the ring with a purpose. It's like, calm down, Randy. Calm down, Daniel. It's like, there's not going to be a fight here. Give me the title. So Bryan's like, no! And what happens? He gets RKO'd for his troubles. Triple H takes the championship, leaves the ring with it, and Orton and Bryan are left dumbfounded in the ring. Bryan laying prone on the canvas, courtesy of the RKO and Randy Orton standing above him. That's the end of the segment. So Corporate H has pretty much become an enemy to everyone, even the people that he's trying to mold into the face of the company, or the so-called face of the company. The only thing that matters to Corporate H is Corporate H. And obviously, anything that Stephanie does, or Brad Maddox, for that matter, does, or The Shield does, is considered what's best for business. So when we come back from commercial break, Randy Orton steps in on a conversation between Hunter and Steph, and Stephanie gets up in his face and says, "What happened to the old Randy Orton? You were evil. I want to see that Randy Orton back. I want that Randy Orton to be the face of the WWE. Until you find him, we'll have to find a new face of the WWE." Orton gets up in Triple H's face. Triple H looks at him and goes, "That's the Orton we want to see." We get our first match of the evening, and it is a rematch from last night's Night of Champions pay-per-view. This time, a non-title match. Dean Ambrose not defending the U.S. Championship against hometown boy Dolph Ziggler. Now, think about it. Dolph is technically from Cleveland. He's put over as being from my boy John's hometown of Hollywood, Florida. But when it comes down to it, he's a Cleveland boy, just like The Miz. The Miz, on the other hand, is put over as being from Cleveland. Even though they did the whole thing with saying he's from Hollywood for the longest time, but he's from Cleveland, Ohio. Everyone knows that. Most people don't realize that Dolph Ziggler is from Cleveland, Ohio, and Nick Nemeth himself holds many state championships in wrestling, actually. So he went to Kent State University, and I'm not pulling a JR or anything. I'm just kind of trying to drop a little knowledge on you guys. So obviously he's going to get a huge pop, and he does. And this match with Ambrose was actually pretty good. Let's go to the match like we always do here on Pops. He locks on a sleeper, does Dolph, and he jumps on the back. He has the sleeper locked on. Ambrose counters and locks on a sleeper hold of his own. And just like normal, Ziggler breaks it with a jawbreaker. Whip in reverse, Ziggler is over the top rope to the floor, and short arm clothesline to get back in the ring, 1-2, and a kick out. So Ambrose goes for the bow and arrow. He sets it up, goes for the Dragon Sleeper instead. Dolph ends up getting the upper hand momentarily. Boot out, toss him through the ropes, and it looked like he was supposed to land on the ring apron, but he kind of just missed it. And he lands on the apron really awkwardly. A back rake, and he picks him up off the apron, and the double arm superplex, the butterfly superplex, 1-2, and Ziggler kicks out. So power drive elbow from Ambrose, 1-2, and a kick out. So he ties him up in the ropes, and he jab, and he's going for the front drop kick. But of course he gets stopped when he charges in by a back elbow from Ziggler. He catches him with that hanging DDT he likes to hit every once in a while. You know, the hourglass DDT I see every once in a while. Ducks the clothesline, standing drop kick, big splash in the corner, going for the 10 punch, and he nails the hooking clothesline off the ropes. Ziggler's in firm control right now. He hits 9 elbows, and the leaping elbow, 1-2, and a kick out. So a whip in, reverse by Ambrose, and catches him with the huge sidewalk slam, 1-2, and a kick out. Hangman's neck breaker, countered into a backslide by Ziggler, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes for Justice is Served, countered into the zigzag, 1-2-3, and Dolph Ziggler wins this non-title match. But for some reason, just that insult to injury, Justin Roberts gets on the mic after the match is over, while Dolph's music is playing, mind you, and says, "Still United States Champion Dean Ambrose." So yeah, that's kind of like the equivalent of being knocked down as a nerd or a wimp. You know how back in the 50s they have this kind of deal where like the nerd would go to he's the nice guy, and he's on the beach, and all of a sudden the big muscled up idiot would come around and he kicks sand in the kid's face. That's pretty much what happened here. That's the equivalent of that. I don't understand where that analogy came from. It just came from the utter reaches of my mind. So, we got our next match of the evening, Fandango with the absolutely stunning Summer Rae taking on R-Truth. And you know the funny thing is, I saw this match come up, I saw Truth come out, I was like, wow, Fandango is actually going to win this thing. And I was not wrong at all. So, we go midway through the match. Fandango with the high-velocity whip into the buckle on 2 separate occasions. Locks on a chin lock. Truth punches him off. Comes off the ropes. Truth nails him with a leg lariat. Clothesline, boot in the midsection. He goes for a suplex. Turned around into the Osaka Street Cutter, which I haven't seen him use in quite a long time. Makes the cover 1-2 and a kick out. So he goes for the scissor kick, and he misses it because Fandango ducks out of the way. Whip in, charge, and it lands on the apron, gets caught with a high angle kick to the side of the head, and he's down. He goes up top, nails the perfect 10 guillotine leg drop. 1, 2, 3. Fandango wins this match. I said before, and I'm going to stick to it, I think the time has come for a double turn. I would say that it's not the right time now, because technically The Miz got a lot of shine tonight, since the fact that we're in his hometown. He took a beating from Randy Orton, a very sympathetic Miz tonight, so it made total sense that he was the babyface. And he really took it to Orton, but we'll talk about that actually in a couple segments. What I'm trying to say is this: once that's over with, once that's completely blown over, and given wrestling psychology, you're supposed to not remember something that happened a week ago, even though you're going to see it recapped 14 times during the broadcast, that is 4 days later, then you have to look at it from this perspective. The time has come to turn The Miz back into a heel, and turn Fandango into a babyface. Then you have The Miz back to his cheating ways. He puts a huge beating on Fandango, and he tries to steal Summer Rae away, and Summer slaps him, and then we do something there, and Fandango makes the save, and of course the crowd really, I'm sorry, Will, it's true, the crowd really want to cheer for Fandango, and they still do, so why not? He's got flashy offense, he's got a gorgeous valet, he's over, he's got a great gimmick, he's got a theme song that everyone loves. Why not make him a babyface? It makes total sense to me. So what you do is you do a double turn. That way Fandango is the face, Miz is the heel. And in this case, this is the now time to take the Intercontinental Championship off Curtis Axel. I'm not saying the Joe Hennig experiment has failed. I'm not going to jump on that train like everyone else on the internet. But I will say it's time to get the title off of him. Kofi Kingston is not the answer. The answer is The Miz. And the reason why is because you have The Miz win the championship as a babyface, obviously. He defends against Fandango, I would say probably at a SmackDown, if I had to guess. And then you show some more aggression, and you have Fandango almost get it, but no. And you have him have a valiant effort, and The Miz just keeps beating him. Well, what you do is you have a serious beatdown, and this will turn The Miz heel again, and Fandango into a babyface. And then they can feud over the Intercontinental Championship, and you end up having your endgame as Fandango takes the Intercontinental title from The Miz as a babyface. And truly, I believe that's what's best for business. No relation to the stable of the same name. So, just also mentioned on Twitter was the fact that Dusty Rhodes was asked to attend Raw. Given the fact Dusty Rhodes was asked to attend Raw, you knew something bad was going to happen to him. And yeah, it totally did. So, I would love to be able to say this verbatim, but unfortunately I cannot. So, we're just going to go ahead and do what I remember. So, Dusty comes out. He says, "I'm not here as the American Dream. I'm here as Virgil Runnels." Which, to my knowledge, is the first time that's ever been referenced on television before. You find a way to pay for your sons to do what they need to do in life. It doesn't matter how you get by, it just matters that you do what's best for your children. This is all about Cody's job. See, Triple H said if you don't beat Randy Orton, you don't have a job. Why? Because it's what's best for business. So then Goldust comes out, and he takes a mighty swing, but having 2 sons you love is what's best for business, nothing more. I just want him to have the opportunity to try to earn his job back. So Stephanie, and I'm quoting here, "Drag them long legs down here and get with it." So Stephanie comes out. she applauds mockingly. She gets in the ring, shakes Dusty's hand, and she gives him a gift card for Cody and Brandy, since they just got married recently. And Dusty looks at it, and apparently it's for Bed Bath & Beyond. Because that's where they were registered, apparently. And Dusty's like, let's cut the BS. Let's cut down to this. You said there was going to be an opportunity. You said there's going to be a proposition. Just lay it out for me. And Steph's like, okay, I guess this isn't going to go well, so I might as well just cut to the chase. We would like to offer Cody his job back. But we're going to give you the choice. See, we could offer Cody his job back. Or instead, you could give the opportunity to Dustin instead. So you pretty much have to pick which son you want to give the contract to. You'd be a hero to your sons, or the son that was chosen in this case. And he basically tells Stephanie she can go straight to hell. So the Shield come out, like you knew they would, and they surround the ring. Now, number one, I gotta hand it to two things. Like I said, hashtag the little things. Number one, I mentioned at Night of Champions when they said that the Shield have the ring surrounded. There's one opposite corner that is completely unoccupied by one of the Shield members, because there's not 4 members of the Shield, there's 3. This was actually taken care of today. You had Rollins on one side, Reigns on an opposite, Ambrose on an opposite, and if Dusty wanted to leave the one side of the ring, which of course is where the rampway was, Stephanie was right there. So technically, there really was no escape. So, Stephanie's gonna make a decision, and she brings out the Big Show. So she says, well, since you won't make a decision which you want to choose, Cody or Dustin, I'm gonna make you make another choice. Would you rather be dismembered by the Shield or knocked out by the Big Show? So of course, Dusty does not answer, and Show gets in the ring reluctantly. And it's like, Big Show, knock him out. He won't do it. He starts those crocodile tears yet again, like he always does. He has the past several weeks. Very sympathetic for the Big Show, depending on how you look at things. So the Shield grab chairs. So all 3 have steel chairs. And this is like a scene out of the Warriors. You know, the Warriors come out and play. They're using steel chairs, and they're beating them against the canvas to try to rally the Big Show to man up. So they say, Shield, get him. And I've got to hand it to the Big Show here. He actually made the censors jump on this. He says, don't you effing touch him. So the Shield, but he basically just looks at Dusty with tears in his eyes. He's like, I'm sorry. I can't do it. But I've got no choice. Dusty, I'm sorry. Loads it up. WMD on Dusty Rhodes. And instead of Dusty taking the bump to the canvas, Big Show cradles him and carries him back to the mat. Everyone leaves the ring, and Dusty is stretchered out. He gets put in an ambulance in the back. Big Show goes with him. And that's all she wrote for that segment. Genuine emotion here, really is. And it plays up something that's a very real fact, that the McMahons and the Rhodes family do not really gel very well. That's not a lie at all. It's been played up very well the past several years. Obviously, with Dustin and Cody having jobs with the company, it's not as bad as it could be, but it seems like it's always been out there. It's like you took the NWA World Champion, and when you brought him into the company, you gave him black and yellow polka dots and made him the common man. His promos were done on a garbage truck, and they gave him Sapphire as a valet. Nothing wrong with Sapphire, but you kind of downplayed the fact that Dusty Rhodes was a world champion. You made him out to be a joke. He had a great feud with Randy Savage, you really did. But you made him out to be a joke. Look what happened to Goldust. And Cody got an example made out of himself because of that fact. I like where you're going with this. I called this too. I knew it was going to happen. So this pretty much sets up the Shield against Big Show, Cody, and Dustin at Survivor Series. I don't have a problem with that at all. I really don't. And since it's pretty much been confirmed by spoilers from a like radio promos that are being heard, obviously that's card subject to change. And again, the promo for tonight's show said we'd see the Cleveland debut of the Wyatt family. Yeah, in a pre-taped promo. That was amazing, but we'll get to that later. But when you look at it from this perspective, you really see that we're leading towards the Shield against Big Show, Cody, and Dustin at Survivor Series. And if Rhodes' team and the Big Show win, what I would do is to give Cody his job back and give Dustin a contract. Because apparently he can still go. The match with Randy Orton a couple weeks ago was really good and very enjoyable. He's lost some weight. He's in better shape than he was when he was Black Reign in TNA. So, yeah, give Dustin a job back. Excuse me. I like where you're going with this. I like how nefarious What's Best for Business is. This is an amazing heel stable. There are people that love to cheer the heels and boo the baby faces that hate Triple H because of this. The days of Triple H and Degeneration X are dead. This corporate H gimmick is phenomenal. Everyone in this entire promo is getting a rub from it in one way or another. They did the right thing with stretching Dusty out. But this isn't the first. This is only the first of many times that you're going to see something happen with What's Best for Business tonight on Raw. And I'll get to that in a minute. So, for our first match of the evening that is kind of out of nowhere, we get another 6-diva tag match. Oksana, Alicia Fox, and Layla against Brie Bella and the Funkadactyls. Now, Brie has Nikki in her corner, still dressed up as Bella Bright, still absolutely gorgeous. And JoJo is actually out there, but she's on the opposite side of the ring, still playing up their heat from the half-season finale of Total Divas that was last Sunday. Yesterday. Or today, 2 days ago, depending on when you're watching this. So, this match was all over the place. AJ was on commentary. Natty was on commentary too, but for some reason her mic didn't work. They played into that a little bit. So, this match was all over the place. Double whip by the Funkadactyls, so we get Cameron in this match, because the first time we didn't have Cameron, we had Natty. So, flipping clothesline by Naomi, and Cameron gets tagged in. Spinning back kick by Layla. Tagging to Oksana, foot choke. Tagging Alicia Fox. Tag back into Layla. Foot choke. Tagging Oksana. Choke with a knee. Sensing a pattern here. Tagging Alicia Fox. Boot in, chin lock, and a knee drop. Scoop slam. Somersault leg drop to Brie. Tag Brie. Tagging to Oksana. Toss into Layla. Knock her off the apron. Knocks Alicia Fox off the apron. All the divas hit the ring, and Katie bar the door. We have a Donnybrook Bella Factor on Oksana and 1, 2, 3. So yeah, this match was all over the place. Not a great match at all. Basically just done to get the storyline outside the ring over with Natty and AJ. And AJ and Natty did not come to blows on this time. AJ basically held the championship high, or in Natty's face. Here's what this could lead to. There was a tweet that was posted by AJ earlier yesterday that really started a nice little uproar in the internet. And we saw not the butterfly belt, she had that too, but the old WWF Women's Championship. I think that the Women's Championship should be brought back. We don't need the Diva belt. We don't need the butterfly belt. We need the women's title. Obviously, the women's title is on NXT. But it's called the women's title on NXT? Why cannot it be called the women's title on WWE programming? Obviously, the Women's Championship has a very long lineage, bringing up names like the Fabulous Moolah, and Mae Young, and Sherry Martel, and Wendy Richter, Medusa Maselli when she was Alundra Blaze, Bull Nakano, the time that they brought in Monster Ripper and made her into Bertha Faye. So yeah, it's got a huge lineage, and we need to bring that back. I mean, Trish Stratus held the title, Lita held the title. These are all women that had successful matches. Don't forget, Trish Stratus and Lita main evented a Raw, so there is something to be said about that. And given the fact that Mickie James is now a free agent because she decided she wanted to leave TNA, maybe she'll return to the company. I don't know if I want that or not, especially not until this storyline with Total Divas versus Anti-Total Divas is long over with. We actually go back to real wrestling matches instead of just 3-minute clusters that are put together just to showcase the commentary in the match instead of the match itself. So we get our next match, Mr. Money in the Bank, Damien Sandow taking on Rob Van Dam, and again, interesting. So Sandow locks on a chin lock, Van Dam elbows out of it, whip in, charges in, caught the boot, ducks the clothesline, and Hurricane Rana from Rob Van Dam, springboard off the middle rope, and a 180 flying body press, 1-2, and a kick out. So clothesline, standing side kick, goes for the Rolling Thunder, Sandow gets the knees up, hooks the leg, 1-2, and a kick out. He goes for a kick, step over spin kick from Van Dam. He goes, springboards to the middle rope and hits the standing side kick, climbs up top, hits the 5-star, 1-2-3. After the match is over, we hear Damien Sandow's music. I have a feeling the sound guy was promptly fired. And then, of course, we play Van Dam's music. Obviously, with Sandow losing again and again and again, you know that it is very close to time for him to cash in Money in the Bank. And the only way to get him to cash in Money in the Bank is to get the championship on Rob Van Dam, and then take the title off Van Dam with Sandow cashing in. I think that's the reason why you're having this match so much, so they can get used to working each other. And this match happens a lot on house shows too, so I think you get them used to working each other so their world title matches when Sandow takes the championship are very entertaining. This match was okay for what it was. It was just kind of thrown together though. Really, really rushed, and I'll go with that. So, Triple H is talking to Scott Armstrong in the back, and he basically just lets him go. He says, pretty much the reason why you were here, you're the senior official, how dare you be in cahoots with Daniel Bryan, even though obviously that didn't happen. So he's going to let Scott Armstrong go. Basically says, he's in a jam. There's no WWE champion at this time. And that's kind of a problem. Officials in the WWE have to have a little thing called integrity. He's been a loyal employee for about 20 years, and he's going to offer Scott a really generous severance package, but he's got to let him go. So Triple H gets to play Ryan Bingham tonight, to be totally honest. Armstrong tries to rebut, and Triple H stops him and says, I'm going to take real good care of you. It's going to be okay. So Scott Armstrong going to end up being the Nick Patrick for What's Best for Business. I think that's a very good possibility. The other thing I talked about was that you're going to see the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn fight the Shield, and if they win, Armstrong gets his job back. If they lose, then Armstrong and the Road Dogg are both fired. And they might as well fire Billy Gunn as well. That's what I think is going to end up happening. So, you see the Miz backstage talking to Brad Maddox. He's got a smile on his face. You don't really know what he's going to do. So, the first thing I think is like, they're really going to go with what I said. They're going to give Miz an opportunity against Curtis Axel. No. Doesn't happen. The Miz wants Randy Orton for some stupid reason. So, it is made perfectly clear that the Miz's mom and dad are at ringside. So, Justin Roberts calls him Cleveland's own The Miz. He comes out, he walks around the ringside area, baby faces it up, hugs his mom, and Orton just jumps him from behind and tosses him hard, shoulder first, into the ring steps. So he pounds away. We get back to live action. And Miz is holding his arm. He's standing in the corner waiting for the bell to ring, which hasn't happened yet. And the referee says, okay, start the match. They ring the bell. Miz charges Orton, double legs him, starts pounding away. So a boot in the midsection. Orton stops his momentum. The charging clothesline. And then he charges in. Miz gets the elbow up. And he goes for the snakebite DDT. Gets countered. Backdrop lands on the ring apron. Miz grabs his neck and throws him throat first across the top rope. So they brawl on the floor. And they brawl on the floor. And the Miz ends up getting pulled face first into the ring post. Right in front of his mom and dad. His mom is showing a lot of worry for her son. His dad looks like he might as well be just anywhere but there. He has no concern whatsoever for what's going on with his son and right before his very eyes. His mom is very convincing, but really building more sympathy for the Miz. But his dad, on the other hand, just kind of just sitting there and just like... So yeah, there's always that. Well, while this is going on, the referee's continuing to count, and we ended up reaching the 10 count, so we get a count out. There's no winner, no contest. So, Orton tossed him over the table, and Miz ends up clotheslining Orton back over the barricade when we get back to fighting through the crowd, right in front of his mom and dad, mind you. So he pounds the Miz with right hands right in front of his parents. Obviously, his mom is absolutely disgusted. His dad looks like he's pretty comatose. No offense to the Miz's dad. He just does not really know how to interact with the situation right before his eyes. So Orton goes for the snakebite DDT over the barricade to the floor, and he plants the Miz right on his head, tosses him back in. He gets a steel chair, and there's a Mark fan right beside his parents that is actually chanting for a punt kick. Well, he puts the Miz's neck in the chair. He goes for the stomp. He changes his mind. He backs up in the corner. He leaps in the air, and he drops the knee into the chair. It pretty much hit the knee was into the spine, but still... The visual was there. Well, slightly, because the cameraman caught a really bad angle of it. And, yeah, there's always that. But the Miz is decimated in his hometown. So, not real surprised that happened, to be totally honest. So, here's an interesting segment that's up next. Ryback comes out. And, he's walking to the ring. Well, actually, he's walking to the ramp. He's at the top of the ramp. And Curtis Axel is pushing Paul Heyman in a wheelchair. Well, Axel shakes Heyman's hand and he bombs out. So, Paul Heyman... Wow, long day. Really long day. My name is Paul Heyman, and I am the best in the world. See... That's a true statement right there, because at Night of Champions, I pinned CM Punk. Envy is one of the 7 deadly sins, and it must be difficult to compare his lifetime achievements with all of ours. There's not one of us that can make the statement of the fact that you pinned CM Punk. Well, there might be some indie workers in the crowd in Cleveland that might be able to say they pinned CM Punk. So, yeah, there's all of that. He says it over and over again. Why? Because he can. Because it's nothing but the truth. And let it be written in the annals of wrestling history that the first time that CM Punk went face-to-face with Paul Heyman, the winner was Paul Heyman. The loser? Our hero, CM Punk. This time there was no master plan. Punk had him dead to rights. Punk beat him so fiercely, he's confined to a wheelchair. It's a miracle that he's not some vegetable rotting away in a nursing home right now. How did he pull this off? He's here tonight, right before our very eyes, because one man took the initiative to make history. One man stood up. I owe my life to Ryback. So Bully Ry gets on this microphone and says, if there's one thing he can't stand, it's a bully. Punk bullied Paul Heyman at Night of Champions, and Paul Heyman really didn't deserve the beating he took. He doesn't like CM Punk. Doesn't really like anything about him at all. See, Punk is a bully, and Ryback can't stand bullies. He's here to stop CM Punk. So he gets on one knee, right beside Paul Heyman, sitting in the wheelchair, and tells him that he never has to worry again. As long as he is around, Punk will never again get his hands on him. Something really bizarre that throws off the entire crowd. Heyman kisses Ryback on the cheek. And that's the end of the segment. Okay. So, Ryback is the new Heyman guy. I don't have a problem with that. Ryback's not a great talker, so Heyman being his mouthpiece works fine for me. I don't have a problem with that. Ryback's getting a renewed push as a heel. I like that too. If this is leading to the thing that everyone on the internet is talking about, Goldberg against Ryback at WrestleMania, sure, why not? Might as well. I think we get Punk and Ryback at Battleground. And I think we get Punk and Ryback in some form at Survivor Series. I have a feeling this feud will not go to the Royal Rumble. I think it'll probably end in December. I think December's TLC. I don't recall off the top of my head. I actually have that pay-per-view listing in front of me. Yeah, I was right. It's TLC. So that's where I think it probably will end. I don't think it'll go to the Rumble because they're going to have to ready Punk for the Rumble. And a potential winning the Rumble, which could happen next year. I think it actually might. Getting Punk and Bryan at WrestleMania. And again, I have zero problems with that, because that's what I want to see. So, great segment. Heyman is amazing, and that's all you need to know. So, we get a very, very, very impromptu three-way dance. Elimination rules to determine who are the number one contenders to the Shield's WWE Tag Team Championships. Didn't we do this last night with 4 teams? Conspicuous by their absence are the winners of said Fatal 4-Way last night. Actually, Fatal 5-Way or 5 Tag Team Turmoil. There you go. Nothing else says it best. Should have been 6 teams in that. Should have been the Whites. Anyway, so we get Zeb's Militia, the Real Americans, Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and the Tons of Funk, Brodus Clay and Tensai. Tensai had his working boots on tonight, folks. He really did. So we start into the match, and Brodus hits an avalanche on Swagger in the corner. He rolls out to regroup, talk to Cesaro on the floor, tagging to Jimmy Uso, Savate kick to the ribs, and the diving forearm in the corner. He goes for a crossbody, gets caught, 2 big body slams, goes for a third and a very awkward backbreaker. Drops an elbow, tagging to Cesaro. Actually, Cesaro tags himself in. So there's a knee lift and a whip in, ducks the clothesline, spinning back elbow, and tagging to Jey Uso. He hits a double chop, 1-2, and a kick out, tagging to Jimmy Uso. Boot in, and Cesaro catches him with a Swiss uppercut. Goes for a snap suplex, tag into Tensai. And Tensai nails Cesaro with a hanging butterfly suplex. And when I say hanging butterfly suplex, I'm talking he held him up for what seemed like a millennia, very reminiscent of the late great British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. and he just let the blood rush to his head before he released it. Very reminiscent of Giant Bernard more than a Tensai. But I believe he actually has done it before in WWE. So, Swiss uppercut and clothesline over the top to the floor, tagging to Jey Uso, and goes for the avalanche again, knocks Swagger off the apron, does Tensai, and he nails him with the non-sit-out version of the Baldo Bomb. Cesaro steals the pin off of that, pinning Tensai 1, 2, 3. The Tons of Funk have been eliminated. Cesaro with the dropkick sends him to the floor. On the WWE app, you have the best spot of the entire match. Yes, you heard me correctly. On the app, the best spot of the entire match. It is recapped, of course, for people that were not watching, but it should have been on the live broadcast, not recapped from the app. Of course, it was Antonio Cesaro with the awesome giant swing. So, we get back to live action, tagging to Jack Swagger, and he quickly tags back out to Cesaro. Actually, here's what he does. Tagging to Swagger, goes for the Swagger Bomb, blind tag to Cesaro. When he lands a Swagger Bomb, he gets leapfrogged over in Beverly Brothers style, and the double boot stomp from Cesaro. Picks him up, scoop slam, drops the elbow into the chin lock, goes for a sunset. He slips out, and he kicks him off. So, clothesline off the top. Jimmy in ducks the clothesline and catches him with a Samoan drop. So he charges them with a butt bump, the Rikishi style, spot 1-2 and a kick out. Cesaro makes the save. So backdrop over the top to the floor by Jey Uso on Cesaro. And double suicide dive on Swagger and Cesaro as they're on the floor. So Savate kick, duck. He picks the ankle and he locks on the Patriot lock. He fights with it a bit and eventually he gets kicked off. Standing Savate kick and Samoan splash. Gets caught this time. Overhead release belly to belly suplex. Before that happens, blind tag. And when he lands, Samoan splash on the Swagger from the other member of the Usos, and they are the number one contenders to the tag team titles. Not bad. Not bad for what it was. Kind of thrown together, to be totally honest. I like the finish. I like the way it happened. Jey Uso takes the pin. And once again, the Usos are back in the driver's seat for a title match against the Shield somewhere down the line. I would say Battleground is probably where the Shield are going to face the Usos. What does this mean for the primetime players? Who knows? Maybe they'll get another shot somewhere down the line, too. Maybe they'll get Battleground and the Usos will get Survivor Series. That could happen. Who knows? Oh, sorry, my throat is bothering me tonight. So, basically, The Miz, there's an update on his condition. He says his thorax is kind of damaged, but his neck isn't broken. The thorax is kind of like the upper chest cavity. Dusty is fine, but obviously he's shaken up. There's going to be hell to pay for Dusty getting beat up like that. Bray Wyatt is doing another amazing, amazing promo, and I'd love to be able to do this verbatim. But obviously, since Raw just ended a little bit ago, I really can't. I'd be able to do it tomorrow, but I can't do it right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and recap what I remember. They say patience is a virtue. It's a lost art. People want everything now. Now. They don't realize that beyond their precious sitting walls, there is another world out there full of animals. Just like ours. His world. Now in his world, when an animal is sick or hurt, there's no fumbling around in agony. No, the animal is put down. Want to see something really scary? Don't you worry about a thing, Abigail. I'm going to put them all down. Them all down. Of course, the face of Eric Rowan and the sheep mask, and that's the end of the promo. Okay. No clear direction for the Wyatts right now. And I don't know if the Wyatts were on Superstars tonight, which they might have been. I don't know. I don't have spoilers of Superstars in front of me right now. But on the promo that aired on Sports Talk Network during Pro Wrestling Insider the other night, the Wyatt family's debut in Cleveland was listed. So hopefully they worked a match during Superstars. If not, The crowd got shortchanged and they only got a promo out of it. But what a promo it was. I'm telling you right now, Mick Foley said it best. Bray Wyatt easily could be the next incarnation of Mick Foley. But Bray Wyatt needs to be the first Bray Wyatt, obviously. He's got the promos down. The promos are eerie and disturbing and just macabre. They're just out there, like totally out there. And once they figure out a direction to take the eventual, and it will happen somewhere down the road, battle with the Shield, this is going to be awesome. So yeah, great promo from Bray Wyatt. So we get Dan O'Brien in the back, and he actually shows up. Excuse me. He's walking backstage, and he walks past a lot of the workers, and he hugs Brie, and then he walks out, and this is a real big match feel. He's going to face Roman Reigns in the main event. So, let's talk about this match, shall we? So right before the match even starts, Randy Orton's music hits, and he walks to ringside, and he pretty much talks strategy with Ambrose and Rollins on the floor. He sits down in the announce table chair, like this, like a comfy, like office chair, sitting at ringside, and excuse me, I'm gonna watch this match. So we start the match already, whip in, reverse, and he goes chest first into the buckle, does Daniel Bryan. It's kind of like a ricochet effect, kind of like a whiplash, basically, is what it is. Nails him with a club to the back of the neck, chin lock, and Bryan sends him off the ropes. Catch him with a shoulder does Roman Reigns, and Bryan nails him with a charging knee to the midsection. High knee lift, drops Bryan, and the clothesline in the corner. So he charges in, and he caught with a clothesline, and a snap suplex, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes for another one, 1-2, and a kick out. So Reigns locks in the chin lock. Bryan elbows his way out. Reigns stops him with a headbutt. Whip in, and he charges in, and he gets drop toe holded into the middle turnbuckle. He goes up top, goes for the missile drop kick, and Roman Reigns ends up going to the floor courtesy of the bump. So he goes for the tope, and he catches him awkwardly, but he drives him into the ring apron on two separate occasions. We get back to live action, full Nelson, and a forward roll from Bryan, 1-2, and a kick out. So he puts him on the buckle. He climbs up, Reigns goes for a superplex, Bryan punches his way out, and he knocks him off. Bryan goes for the swan dive headbutt, he misses, Reigns makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So a headbutt, drops Bryan, 1-2, and a kick out. So whip in, and kick straight to the face, swinging Uranagi from Roman Reigns as he caught Bryan coming in with a crossbody, and he swinging Uranagi laid him out. Chin lock, Bryan again elbows out of it, whip in, backflip, ducks the clothesline, comes off the ropes, hooking clothesline, and the yes kicks. Goes for the buzzsaw, Reigns ducks, and catches him with a Samoan drop out of nowhere, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for the powerbomb. Bryan counters into a sunset, stacks him up, 1-2, and a kick out. So he nails the buzzsaw kick when he gets up, 1-2, and 2.5. So Rollins pulls him out to regroup him a bit. Rollins gets nailed with a front baseball slide dropkick, and the charging dropkick in the corner misses. Leaping clothesline by Roman Reigns on Daniel Bryan, and he gets countered when he gets up. Yes lock is locked on. Randy Orton makes the save, so he gets locked in the yes lock momentarily. Rollins and Ambrose hit the ring. Orton with a stomp to the chest, and Orton gets the steel chair. So we know something bad is about to happen to Daniel Bryan. He puts the neck in the chair, and then the entire babyface locker room just empties. So the Usos, Kofi Kingston, Zack Ryder, R-Truth, Justin Gabriel, Rob Van Dam, the Primetime Players, and Dolph Ziggler all hit the ring, and they jump the Shield. So they are finally putting matters into their own hands and taking care of what's best for business. So Kofi ends up getting speared by Reigns, and Ambrose gets nailed with a name dropper from Dolph, and the Usos with a double super kick on Reigns, and Rollins is set up with all the baby faces on opposite sides. He gets nailed with the fire-breathing knee, and Rollins is taken out. So basically, everyone is chanting yes, the entire building, and the primetime players pull a Bret Hart and put Daniel Bryan on their shoulders. The entire babyface locker room is chanting yes as we fade to black. And I'll tell you right now, hell hath no fury like Corporate H scorned. There's going to be some serious repercussions coming for this. Obviously, we have seen what's best for business is capable of. So this does not bode well for anyone involved. Dolph Ziggler has already been accosted, and the Usos have felt it. Kofi felt it. I mean, R-Truth, Justin Gabriel, the primetime players, Rob Van Dam, Zack Ryder, these are all people that haven't felt it yet. I have a feeling they're going to. So, expect some serious beatings for the babyfaces involved during SmackDown on Friday. So, that's what I think is going to happen. So, that was Raw. Very entertaining show. Very great way to end the show, to be totally honest. Babyfaces just revolt against the heel regime and completely don't care about what happens, and they jump the Shield, and Randy Orton takes off running into the crowd, so he gets the heck out of Dodge, and the Shield take a beating from the babyface locker room, with the exception of a couple people like The Miz, and interesting how that ended up working out. So, yeah, expect repercussions in the future. So, that was the last recap you're going to get from me on Pop until October. Sorry guys, like I said, if you want to continue to follow me and watch all my awesome Disney videos, I'm going to have some ride-throughs. We're going to be doing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I'm going to have Hallowishes and Boo to You. They're going to be up on this channel. As well as I'm also going to be doing Universal Halloween Horror Nights. We're going to be getting into every single one of the haunted houses, and we're going to be allowed to film in there thanks to an awesome YouTube meetup that is set up by the Tim Tracker and through Universal. So Universal's going to let us film in the mazes. That's going to be amazing. So I'll have that. I'll have video footage of the scare zones. We're going to go to SeaWorld. I'll get footage from Antarctica, get a ride through there. We'll get the Transformers ride through. That's going to be working out. And obviously we're going to have some stuff from the YouTube meetup. A walkthrough of the Animal Kingdom Lodge on Thursday. Me trying to walk to my room to the villas at Jumbo House. And of course I'm going to have Phantasmic, Wishes, and Illuminations from different angles. That's going to be there. So if you want to keep following me and watching all that great theme park content you're going to get for the next 2 weeks, then be my guest. If you want to tweet me, you're more than welcome to. It's at SirOwenDisney. If you want to send me an email, it's SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. Or if you want to find me on Facebook, it's Owen Disney. Very simple to find, very easy. So thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And wrestling fans, I will join you again in the beginning of October. We're going to be talking TNA Impact and NXT and SmackDown, and then Raw, and then Pop goes to SmackDown on October 8th in Columbus, Ohio, when me, Will, and Ben are going to be there live. So it's going to be awesome. So, in the meantime, I will see you wrestling fans in a couple weeks. And for everyone else, until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.